Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, but I'm not out on another walk, but I'm still on my quest for England. Thank you for joining me today in my kitchen, where I have been looking at my maps, got quite a few of those, and some old books. I do like my old books, particularly books of the area. Now, the reason for today's video is to really alert you to some changes that I'm making in what I am doing. Don't worry, I'm still going to be out and about making videos, trying to stay out more than in. But I have this quest for England, and I'm fascinated by our country, and I'm fascinated by our traditions, our heritage, our landscape and our nature, and I want to explore that. Only, of course, we're in very strange times with the lockdown. Now, the other day, as I record this, the Prime Minister has made life a little easier for some by allowing us out for unlimited exercise, which has been fantastic, and those that can't work at home can go to work. Now, I can't bring you heritage, landscape and nature, which is now, this is my job. This is the only way I earn a living from my patrons who support me. If I am just at home, I could read, as I do live readings on the Bald Explorer page, passages or books and things like that. But of course, it's no substitute for actually getting out and having a look at things. And that has been my modus operandi, as they say, ever since I got going. So I want to carry on with all of that. And it seems now that with the lifting of the ability to go out, or rather the ability to go out and go to work, means that I can go. But now, I at first thought this is great because there's lots of England, and I have been around the Worthing area where I live quite a bit and explored that and put it under a microscope and wandered round the streets and the seashore and some of the local hills, etc. And the minute he said, oh, you can go to work, I thought, oh, that's great because, well, when you go to work, some people have to travel for their work, which is what I would do, and I could explore more of England. However, people who travel may find that they're too far away from home to be able to return that day. So I figured it'd be all right to stay in hotels or Airbnbs or anything like that. But it seems, and I don't know if hotels are open or what the situation is there, which would be too expensive for me actually at the moment running the YouTube channel to be able to afford that, although I have been at Airbnbs. But I know that sadly they are still not operating. We had to cancel a number of trips that we had planned at the beginning of this lockdown. But that's not to say we're not going to go and do those things as soon as we can. But it's what to do in the meantime. And I've been aware that this quest for England, and I'm only in and around where I live. So now it seems that you're able to travel, but you've got to return at night. It didn't actually say what happens if you do night shifts, but that's another story. So I figured I would just modify what I'm doing for the next few months whilst we get through this phase and keep the quest for England, but concentrate on the search for Sussex. Sussex is the county where I am. If you happen to be watching from overseas and are not quite sure of how the counties work out, Sussex is divided into two. It's Sussex, but it's got two administrations, East Sussex and West Sussex, and I'm in West Sussex, and I'm in Worthing down on the south coast. But anyway, my thought was it would be nice to have a bit more of an orchestrated plan. Now, to that end, there are a number of old books, and I've got lots of them. Sussex Villages, Sussex, the Sussex Coast, for example, In the Green Lanes, the King's Sussex, lots of interesting old books. But there's one which has attracted my attention, and I've been looking at it. It's by Arthur Stanley Cook, and it's called Off the Beaten Track in Sussex, and it goes right across from East Sussex to West Sussex, but it does start in West Sussex and quite local to where I am, and then starts to go further afield. It's off the beaten track. It was written, I don't know exactly, but about 1920, something like that, possibly earlier, maybe before the First World War. Funny enough, inside here, I bought this from a second-hand bookshop, as one does, and inside here is this clipping from, I can't work out what it's called because it doesn't say, but I think it's something like the Southern Weekly. The clipping is from 1926, and it's got here an article by a chap called David McLean. Number 5, New Haven to Lewes, Wanderings in Sussex. And it gives this story about this chap wandering around in Sussex in 1926. And it's fascinating because when you take one of these old books and you start following in the footsteps of somebody, in 100 years, we could see what has changed, even in the backwaters of Sussex, how things have adapted, what churches were tumbling down and out of condition have now been renovated, or vice versa. So I think it would be great to take a book like this and for the next month or so, whilst we're in this weird situation, follow in the footsteps of Mr. Stanley Cook. Arthur Stanley Cook, rather. Get it right, Vobes. Okay, I will. And just go where he goes and have a look. Now, I had somebody suggest that I could follow in the footsteps of Hilaire Belloc. He wrote a book called The Four Men. And they took a journey, I think, from Robertsbridge in East Sussex all the way over to Harting in West Sussex, which is a great idea. But I thought for the time being, I'll start more locally and work my way further afield rather than start right over in Robertsbridge, which is a good couple of hours, and then work right over to Harting, which is about an hour and a half, or well, depending on the traffic. And as more people go back to work, the traffic is going to snarl up because people don't want to take trains at the moment or public transport. So there's probably be a lot more traffic on the road, which is a shame because we've all enjoyed this wonderful, fresh, clean air, which has been devoid of traffic. So the sooner we get more electric cars, I'm guessing the better the cleaner air will be. Anyway, that's the plan, really. In this book, there is some illustrations, beautiful illustrations they are quite small and they're just line drawings that before photographs, I suppose, was economical to print, I guess, I don't know. But they're beautiful drawings and it shows and depicts the places 100 years ago. So it would be good to follow in the footsteps and go where he goes. Now, whether the question is, I'm sort of making this up as I go along because I don't know how long this lockdown thing is going to last for, and I may pick and choose a bit rather than go from the same pillar to post. But I'll start at the beginning, mainly because some of these places are nearby. I have made videos of them before, but over a year, 2 years ago. So it'd be nice to follow in his footsteps as he starts. And he sets them out as walks. So he's doing a series of walks. So, for example, the first one here is Bramber to Shoreham. It's a 5-mile walk, and he takes us off the beaten track. Now, one can easily follow these walks on Ordnance Survey maps or on Google Maps or on Bing Maps so that you could see where I go at the same time. And I also tend to put the 3-word location on at the beginning of my videos so that you can see my start point. And what I could do is also, if I get to other interesting things, I could put more of that. So you go on the website and you can pinpoint exactly where I am. So I thought that would be an added bit of fun. People often say, can you put a map up on the screen? But I find that a map on the screen, it passes too quickly. You want to stare at it more. You may want to look at it. Easier for me to give you some form of reference that you can then look on a website and spend your time, if you want to, following where I go. So that's pretty much the plan. I hope that's going to be okay. And you'll enjoy it. But it's more out and about. The spring is here. We're going to be passing on towards the summer. There's so much to see in nature, landscape and heritage. And even though I've been to places before, things change all the time. The nature changes, the hedgerows get bigger, the blossom is out, the fruits are coming. I can't remember when I've been to all these different places, and this will have a slightly different take on it because I will be referencing what Arthur Stanley says in his book, and maybe have little excerpts from what he says as well. And I may reference other books if I can find equally interesting references as well, just to try and add a bit more to it. So there we go. So sorry I'm not out today, but I wanted to bring you up to speed and try and keep within the boundaries of what we are allowed and not allowed to do. And I hope that you'll join me on the walks and the exploration in my search for Sussex, on my quest for England. So thank you very much for watching, and take care, look after yourselves, and don't forget to follow, like and subscribe. Of course, leave a comment, give me a thumbs up, and if you consider becoming a patron and help support what I do, it just helps me put petrol in the car. Luckily, petrol is a little bit cheaper at the moment as we're in this situation, so that's handy too. Till next time, thanks for watching, and I will start my adventure in the next video. Ta-ta for now, bye-bye.